In this video, big master bathroom install, day by day. Check it out.
Only 3 full tiles. 1, 2, 3. Okay, day 1. Starting a master bathroom, and I'm going to see if I can upload a video every day as the progress of this bathroom as I'm getting along. So I just got here. I brought up some tools. Just a level, some cordless tools. I got my hydroband board over here, and now I got this shower to do. It's 8 feet by 4 feet. There's going to be a corner bench over here. There's going to be a corner bench over there. There's going to be a niche here and a niche here. And 2 drains. 1 drain here and 1 drain there. So I'm going to have to make it so in the middle, any water gets in the middle, it's going to either go one way or the other, because I don't want any pooling in the middle. I want the water to drain completely down. So first thing I'm going to do is check the alignment of these studs and see if I'd have to do any shimming. So let's check these studs, see how we're doing here. That's like a 1/2 inch.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Okay, so this stud is sticking out. I'm going to have to shave this one down. And this stud here up high is sticking out. I'm going to have to shave that down too. So let's get going with that. Okay, so I'm just going to use a planer set to the maximum depth to shave down that stud. Okay, so I got all the studs shaved down, and now I'm good all the way across, except for that one stud that I'm going to have to shim out. Okay, first piece. Then put the board up this way. Okay, be the sealant. Okay, so that's it for me today. For today, I got the hydroband board up. So I got all the hydroband board up. It's all sealed. It's don't need any banding. The sealer is what creates a waterproof seal at the corners and at the seams. I got the curb on. Tomorrow we're going to do the mud. So if you want to know exactly how to do this, I will link to a video in the cards that shows exactly all the details on how to install a Hydraband board shower. So anyway, that's it for today, for day one. Okay, so day two, I'm going to install the dry pack mud floor in the shower. This is it. I got flow effects drains, tar paper, wire lath, put down the tar paper, the wire lath, install the drains, install the mud. Okay, so I got all the perimeter down for the mud. I'm going to show you in just 1 second so that I can screed from one drain to the middle and from the middle to the other drain and then from the two ends. So the drain, so the perimeter is all completely level, and then the center is level, except I made it just slightly pitched down towards the center a little bit, just a tiny little bit. Now I'm gonna fill in all the way around and pitch to both drains, from the center to this drain, you know, from the edges over here to this drain, the same over here from the center to that drain, and give it a nice slope so that no water will accumulate in the center. It'll either drain to one side or the other. Okay, so that's it. Pitch to the drain. Pitch to the drain. Pitch to the drain. all the way around. So just gonna clean up a little bit, and that's it for today. Okay, so that's the end of day 2. That was 9 bags of mud. It took a lot longer to do than a typical shower mud floor would take, because everything is double, 2 drains, 2 pitches, one to one side, in the middle. So it took a lot longer than it typically would take me. If this was a single drain, it probably would have taken me 2 hours less than what it took me today. Okay, so day 3, we're going to waterproof the shower floor. So, got the sheet membrane. We have the banding. Where did I put that? Anyway, the inside corners and the banding. So I'm going to put an inside corner in each of every one of those corners, and then put the sheet membrane over the entire thing. Okay, so I pre-cut all the banding so that when I mix my thin set, all I have to do is just install it. Now I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to cut my sheet membrane. Okay, so it's all sealed up and waterproof. I forgot to turn on my camera to show you how to do it, but I have several videos that go right over all these details, so I'll link to those in the description, or actually I'll link to those in the cards and in the end screen. But anyway, so I actually have probably like a 6-inch overlap over there. I have probably like a 10-inch overlap over here, and like a 5 or 6 inch overlap over here. The minimum overlap is 2 inches, but if you do more, it's not going to hurt. So the drains all cut out. I put a little test plug in, both of them. Put some water in there, so tomorrow I can flood test it. So if I come back and there's no water in those over there where those test plug is, that means it's leaking, and I'm going to have to fix the test plug before I actually do the flood test on the shower stall, because I don't want to have a leaking plug test and think that it's a leaking shower. So anyway, I'm ready for a flood test and then ready for time. So day 4 is not going well. Typical Friday, when they were boxing in the drains downstairs in the garage for the 2 drains, and the carpenter really screwed me up. So I'm making a repair on one of my bonding flanges to fix the problem. So day 4 is going to be a very short video. I'm just going to show you what's going on. So what happened was, he was boxing in the drain, and after I left, he pushed up on the bonding flange and made it pucker up. So now I had to cut it out using cut out the drain using an inside pipe cutter, put a coupler on it, cut out some membrane, and now I'm going to have to reset it, and then I'm going to put a big patch of sheet membrane over this, and then it's going to have to be flood tested tomorrow because can't flood test it today. So I'll show you the end result. Okay, all patched. Let it dry overnight. Tomorrow, flood test. Okay, so this is day 5, and as we saw in the last video, I had to fix that bonding flange. The carpenter screwed up by popping it, and I had to reset it. So I did that, and then I came here and installed some Dietra in this tiny little half bathroom. I put this Dietra down in this tiny little half bathroom, and it's got 6 by 24 inch plank tile, and I'm going to be setting that today. So the GC went over there on Sunday to fill the pan with water to flood test it. So when I go there, I don't know what I'm going to find, if it's still going to be filled with water, or if it's going to be, or if he goes and empties it out and checks the level. I don't know, I'm gonna put this floor down and then I'm gonna head over there and check that out. Okay, quick little floor, all done. The vanity is gonna be covering that over there. There was no point tiling over there. We didn't have any extra tile, so just covered what we had to. He'll shove it up in the back there and put the tile in. I mean, put the vanity in. So that's the floor. I'm gonna clean up a little bit, and then I'll be off back to that master bathroom. Okay, so made it back to this bathroom, but the GC got locked out on Sunday, so couldn't flood test. So we're flood testing now. It's all filled up. Let it sit for 24 hours. Mark the level. Check it tomorrow. Okay, so day 6. I have grouted this floor here, this little floor that I did yesterday. This is what I have here. It's all grouted. I just got to give it a final rinse, and I'm out of here. And I'm gonna go set the shower floor in that master bath. Okay, so I'm back on the master bathroom. The flood test was good. I forgot to turn on my camera, but the test was good. It was still, I don't know if you can see that pencil mark there. It was still at that pencil mark. It drained okay, and I dried it off as best I can. But because it's still so soaking wet, because the membrane, you know, the fleece on top is going to soak up a lot of water, and I dried it off as best I can. I decided that I'm going to let this dry before I install the tile, because I don't want to run the risk of the thin set not sticking to the membrane because it's so wet. So instead, I am going to install the Ditra heat in the main area here. So I'm going to clear up all these tools, clear everything up, and put everything in here, because this part of the floor is getting all Ditra heat. This part of this in here is going to get the same membrane, but there's not going to be any heat in here. So I'm going to put everything as much as I can into a corner, so that, is there any light in here? Oh wow. So I'm gonna, move everything over as much as I can, and then clear that entire area and put the membrane down. I don't have the cable yet, that's supposed to come in tomorrow. Then tomorrow I'll install the tile on the shower floor, and I'll install the cable over here, and possibly move some of this stuff around and install the membrane in this area here. So sometimes your plans don't go as you expected. I have usually been able, when I've done a flood test, I've usually been able to empty it out and then let it dry for a day or two before I install the tile. Because we got screwed up with that bonding flange, it kind of killed everything. So to reevaluate and change the plan so that I can keep moving ahead. Okay, so I'm getting ready to install my membrane on the main floor. So I actually got 2 rolls. This is the Ditra heat. So before you do anything on plywood, you want to make sure you sweep it and get all the debris off it. Then you're going to vacuum it, and then just before spreading your mortar, you're going to damp sponge it. I'll show you that in a minute. Very important. Okay, so I got all the Ditra heat membrane cut in. It's all cut in. So between sheets, you want to butt them tight. At the wall, you want to leave a little gap, like a 1/4 inch or so. Make sure it's not tight. Now this is moving around a little bit because it's not cemented down, it's all loose. But you want to make sure that you leave a gap all the way around because this is going to be heated. Where the wire is going to run through, you want to make sure you get the pucks to line up so that when you run your wire, you don't have to like try and snake it, it'll just run straight across. Where you are not going to have wire, like over here, it doesn't matter if they line up or not. So I am ready to cement this down. So I'm going to be using a modified mortar to cement this Dietrich heat membrane to the plywood. Now there are 3 different types of modified mortar, the ANSI standards, if you will. So 2 of them work perfectly fine with installing products on plywood. 1 of them is not. It is a guaranteed failure. So make sure when you're looking for your mortar to install your membrane or whatever to a plywood subfloor that you use either ANSI A118.11 or ANSI A118.15. If you have a bag of mortar that's ANSI A118.4, that is not rated for plywood and it is a guaranteed failure. So just be careful what you do, because a lot of people know modified, unmodified, but there are different kinds of modified mortars. Another thing, if you've got long runs, like this is like over 10 feet over here, this way, when you put your membrane down, make it so that you can roll it this way like this, because if you try, if it's under the cabinet there and you have to roll it the other way, you're not going to be able to because of the, because it goes under. So just a little tip there. Sometimes you can't avoid it for whatever reason, but if you can avoid it, do it that way so you don't have to struggle trying to put it back in. Okay, so to install this Dietrich heat membrane, I'm going to be using Schluter All-Set and Schluter All-Set. And just to demonstrate what kind of mortar it is, see, this is an ANSI A118.15 T. T stands for Thixotropic. But if it meets this standard, then it also meets this standard and this standard. So this standard and this standard are good for plywood. This one here is not. You can use this on cement board, you can use it on concrete, you can use it on even foam board if you want. But if you're going to install something to plywood, you need to use one of these. This is a lower standard, this is a higher standard. So by standard, it's, shear strength and all that kind of stuff. So, bond strength, shear strength, and tensile strength, etc., etc. So this is either this one or this one. And the All-Set is an A118.15 mortar. Okay, so I'm going to be using a Schluter Dietrich Heat or Dietrich XL trowel. It's actually just a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch square notch trowel. And when you're mixing thin set, you always want to control your dust. This is a whale tail. This will suck as I drop the mortar into the bucket. This will suck the dust up into the vacuum. So you want to control your dust if you're mixing inside. Okay, so I got my mortar mixed, and while that's slaking, which is actually very important, always mix your mortar according to the directions on the bag. So this is all set. You mix it for membranes. You mix it from 7.5 to 8.5 quarts of water, and then you mix it for 5 minutes. You let it slake for 10 minutes, and then you remix it for 3 minutes. So, and actually you'll see it as in the bucket after it's slaked. It starts to firm up, and then you remix it, and it gets loose again to the right consistency. Right now it's kind of really loose, but after it slakes, it starts to firm up. Then when you remix it the second time, it becomes the correct consistency for the membrane. So very important to mix your mortars according to directions. So in the meantime, instead of waiting around for 10 minutes doing nothing, I am going to roll back my membrane and start dampening the plywood and getting ready to set spread my mortar and put down my membrane. There's still dust on it. That sponge is clean.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
See that? The dust off. Dampen some floor. You gotta rinse that mix for the correct consistency. So first, we use the flat side of the trowel to key in the water, and then we used the notch side of the trowel to gauge out our mortar. So I'm going to do that in the whole section. Got my mortar spread. I'm going to roll back the membrane. Make sure I'm where it needs to be. Okay, see if our coverage is good. Very good. So I'm going to do the same for the rest of this. Okay, so got all the Dietrich heat down that I need to get down. But got it all installed up to where I need it. There's no heat in here, but we need the same membrane to keep everything the same height. The heat is just in that area there. So tomorrow morning this will be dry. This here will be dry, so I can install the tile in the shower stall, and then I'll put the wire in the mat. I don't have any wall tile yet. There's going to be a bench seat over here, a corner bench seat here, and a corner bench seat over there, a niche over here, and a niche over here. I don't have the wall tile. That's why I'm doing the floor tile first, just to have something to do. It should be in a few days. So anyway, get this done tomorrow, and so we'll have another video tomorrow. Okay, so it's the next day again. downtime on this job and half days, just because of the way this job's going. Not a big deal. It's the holiday season. I can use some downtime anyway. But so yesterday we put down the Dietrich heat mat. So I got the Dietrich heat mat down over here. I'll finish that area later because the heat's only going in this part here. There's not going to be any heat in the closet area here. So anyway, so this is the shower floor is dry. So if you saw the last video, this was soaking wet because we flood tested it, so I opted not to do that and install the heat membrane instead. So now it dried overnight, nice and dry, and this is my tile that's going in the shower floor. This is not, it looks like marble, it is not marble. This is actually glass. It's a glass tile. So when you're installing a glass tile, make sure you use the proper thin set. You want a ANSI A118.15 mortar. That's a high polymer content mortar. I had to reset this bonding planch because the plumber popped it from underneath. So I had to put a big patch of membrane around there, so that adds height to this area here. So what that created was a little, I don't know if you can see that, like a space which could be like a bird bath if that's not addressed all the way. Not so much on this side, but these three sides here, I have that same problem. See over there, I don't know if you can see it from there, and over here. So in that area there, I'm just going to put just a strip of membrane over here, just to take up that when I install the tile. So I'm going to do that over there, and over here. This side doesn't need it because the hump is right here. Okay, so I'm dry fitting the Mosaic tile on the shower floor. I pretty much always do that because that way you have everything cut and then you can just cement it in all at once. So, but something that you probably need to know, especially when you got two drains. Now, because this floor slopes like this, and then it slopes up like that, slopes like that, and slopes up like this, because that's a high point, and it slopes back down, etc. You know, there's a bowl here, and there's a bowl here, and there's a high spot there. So what that happens is the distance from the drain, I got the drain covered right there, but it's right there. The distance from here to here, plus the distance from here to here, is longer than that distance there, because that is level. This is sloped, so you get a longer distance because there's a curve there. So what that means is it's going to be very difficult to get all the corners exactly aligned. You can get it so it looks good, but sometimes you can't get it perfect. Just be aware when you're doing this kind of stuff, especially with it's not so visible with a hexagon tile, but with a square tile, sometimes you can see it more. So you have to make adjustments in the tile so visually it looks straight, it looks good. But just be aware that it's not going to be perfect because the floor is not flat. It's got humps and dips in it, so all the distances across the floor in any direction are not going to be the same. Okay, so just dry laying my tile. Drains right over here. Or one of the drains. So just get it as good as you can. So now I'm going to cut that one, and I'm going to use my Untitled cutter. just going to make some adjustments on these sheets. Now we'll cut the other one in. Okay, so both drains are cut in. Time to mix some mortar.
Okay, so I'm going to pick these up and I'm going to put them in order so that I know where they go. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Okay, so
because of that, remember I told you about the because I had to put this patch in over here, so there was a little dip over there, so I put that in all the way around to compensate for that. Now I'm going to start cementing down my tile.
okay, so the back of these tiles are pretty flat, so I'm just going to use just a deeper trowel. So let's get some. So this has got a spacer. I'll move that around as needed. Flatten the ridges to help the squeeze through. I'm not taking anything set up, just flattening the ridges. Put this in and check to see my coverages. If it's good, I'm going to continue with that trowel. If it is good, I'm going to continue with that trowel.
Okay, so that's the shower floor, the two drains. Try to make it balanced, but you know, just did the best I could. The lines are not perfect, and they can't be, because as I said before, there's all kinds of ups and downs in here, so the grout lines will open and close as you go over the humps and valleys. But anyway, that's the shower floor. So check out all the other videos related to this bathroom. From the very beginning, we're putting up the board to this point here. I've been uploading a video every day to document the whole entire process. So tomorrow there'll be another video where we start the floor tile. I was actually gonna start the I actually put down the Dietra heat because I was gonna have to install the floor tile because we didn't have the wall tile, but the wall tile came in, so I can actually, I'll just cover the floor a little bit and I can start on the wall tile tomorrow. Okay, so I'm back. Yesterday I set the shower floor, and today I cleaned it up a little bit, scraped out anything that might be in between the grout lines. So now I'm just going to cover the whole floor. I put some tape around the perimeter. I'm going to use some cardboard and cover this whole floor so that while I'm working on the tile, I don't get the floor damaged or dirty. So I'll show you that in a second. The bench seat here, and the bench seat here, the support for the bench seat, I still don't know. I have a piece of stone, but I'm going to use those for the shelves in the niche. But I do not have the stone yet for the curb or for the seats. And it's going to be pretty low. It's going to be about at 17 inches in that corner and 17 inches at that corner. So I'm not going to be able to do much today either. It's just one of those jobs. Getting materials is a huge pain in the ear. So there's been a lot of delays with getting materials. It's the holiday season, so I don't really care. Plus, I don't really want to work that hard anymore. I'm 64 years old, so if I can get some time off, I'm happy to get it. But anyway, this job is moving on slowly, but it is moving on. Okay, so I covered the floor, but I left room around the perimeter because I don't want the tile sitting on the tape, because then it's going to be a huge pain here to get the tape out. So you leave enough room so when you set your tile, it won't be covering the tape. So that's all the way around. And if you have to clean up that little bit, it's quick and easy. Okay, so there's going to be a couple of corner seats, floating corner seats in the two corners. So I don't like to just cut the stone into the marble and have just the tile support it. I like to have some kind of support underneath so that it's not just the tile holding the stone up. The way I do it, the support holds the weight, and then when I cut the tile around it, it has no pressure on the tile. So I'm making a couple of supports I'm going to show you right now. So that's one of them. These go in the corner. Like that. I'm aiming at the right height. And then on the back, see, it's carved out, so we have a couple of cleats. So you screw these into the wall. You put the sealant on to adhere the cleats to the wall, and you put in a couple of screws. The screws are just there to hold it while the sealant dries. And then you put sealant all over the place, and you're basically gluing it on. Once that sealant dries, it's as strong as can be. You can stand on it and it won't fall off. Figure out the height. So these 4 1/2-inch. If you can get 2-inch material, that's fine. But these are just 4 1/2-inch pieces of curdy board cut to a triangle, and then I cut out 1 inch for the cleats all the way around. And so I'm gonna figure out now the finished height has to be around 17 inches. So the top of the stone from the floor, the finished height has to be around 17 inches. So I have to figure out so I'm going to measure at 17 inches my height, then I'm going to go down 1.25 inches for the thickness of the material, and then I'm going to go down another 2 inches. The top part of the support is going to be 1.25 inches below the 17 inches, and the bottom part is going to be 2 inches below that. You'll see in a second. Okay, so this is my stone. So the top of my seat
is going to go like that. So these cleats here are going to go on the bottom like this, and then this here will sit on the cleats. Let me show you how I do that. Okay, so I got those cleats on there. Then that goes like that. So everything's all, I'm gonna put all sealant all around everywhere, get it all nice and glued on. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I got sealant on here, I got sealant on there, and I'm gonna put it on, and then I'm gonna put a few screws in. I'll show you in a sec. Okay, so I got a screw here, screw going down into that cleat. You know, a couple of screws go into that cleat. This is already really solid here. Now I'm going to put some sealant all the way around, and it's all waterproof. Make sure it's all waterproof. Okay, so I got a bead of sealant on there. Okay, so that's both of them done. Okay, so I got my two supports for my bench seats on. When the stone goes on, it's going to be at the finished height of the stone is going to be at 17 inches in both cases. So I got a niche for there and a niche for there. First, I'm going to tile up to it so I can get the bottom part of the niche on a grout line. It's going to be 20 inches. This is the tile. It's a porcelain tile. (12 by 24), and so that's going on the wall on a running bond pattern. So I really need these stones to be able to start the wall tile, because what I'm going to put on one row and then I have to stop. So those are coming in tomorrow. Yet another delay on this job. It's okay. I don't care. I am happy to go home early anytime. Okay, so the bench seats came in and I'm setting myself up ready to install some tile. So I set up my snap cutter and my not wet saw, but my tile saw, because I'm using the IQ saw at waist height, so I don't have to bend down to cut stuff. Here's my IQ saw. Here's my snap cutter. Okay, so finally got the corner seats. Now I can start installing tile. So there's one, there's two. It's not cemented in yet, but I will be doing that in a minute. And it's level from one to the other, so you want it to be level across the front, and you want it to be pitched on the sides so that when it gets wet, water will run off and not towards the back. So I'm going to cement those two in, that one and that one. Got a couple of tiles cut, and so I'm going to cut some more tiles. I got my stations here like I showed you, and I'm going to mix some mortar and get going on this. Okay, so I got my whole bottom row cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I got my level laser line. So I'm going to put this bottom row in. I'm going to make sure it's perfectly flat, it's perfectly plumb, and then I can build on top of that and know as I go up and I follow the bottom, it's going to be all exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to get this bottom row in first, and then I'm going to put those two corner seats in, and then I'm going to put the next row in, cut around those seats. So this is my trowel, 1/2 inch U-notch,
That's my mortar mixed according to manufacturer specifications and directions. Got my horseshoe spaces, got my leveling clips, got some wedges, ready to go. Okay, so I got my first bottom row of tile on, and it's perfectly flat and perfectly plumb and perfectly level. I'm going to show you that in 1 second. So you always want to make sure you get your first row perfect. A lot of people like to use a ledger board and start from the second row and then work up and then put the bottom row in afterwards. I just like to start with the bottom row so it's all done and I don't have to come back and fool around with fitting stuff in. So I don't know if you can see the laser line on the bottom of the level. It's perfectly level. It's perfectly flat, and it is perfectly plumb. So now I know when I build off that, and I am going to just follow perfection. Okay, so I got the first couple of rows in. Cutting around the bench seats is not an easy task, but I got them done, obviously, because there's no other choice but to do it. That one there is cut in, and that one there is cut in, and I've checked everything. Everything is plumb, flat, and level. So now I'm gonna, I'll just cut that corner in over there, and I'll cut that corner in over there, and then I will continue up. So sometimes people ask, why does it take so long? Well, when you've got bench seats and you've got niches and everything, well, there's a lot of cutting. For example, in this whole wall that I've done so far, there's only 3 full tiles. 1, 2, 3. The whole bottom had to be cut. Had to cut around that bench seat, top and bottom. Had to cut around that corner seat, top and bottom. That tile's cut. That tile's cut. So there's only 3 full tiles. 1, 2, 3. Everything else had to be cut. Okay, so I cut the niches in. There's 2 of them, 2 20-inch by 12-inch niches, and I spaced them equally, best I could. They had to fit between studs, so there's not really much room for play. Just a little bit left and right, up and down. It's going to be a full tile. So from here to here is going to be a full tile. This is the center line. From here to here, it's the same distance as from here to here. And this one I already put in. This one here, I've only got a couple of screws holding it in. I'm going to take it out, put some sealant all the way around, and then screw it in, and then do the same as this one here. You might ask, why have I got a Schluter niche on, Schluter niche on a Hydraband, Laticrete Hydraband board shower? Well, number one, that's what I could get, and so that's what I'm using. These days, it's difficult to get anything. Some things that haven't been affected, like mortar has not been affected, but foam board, big problem getting foam board. So you use what you can get. So for anyone that's wondering, this is the sealant that goes in that gun. It's just, you can get these are 20, what they call 20-ounce sausages. It's called a sausage, and you just stick that kind of hard to do with one hand. Just stick that in there, then you poke some holes in the top with a utility knife, and you put the cap back on. So you can get, if you don't have a sausage gun, you can get that same sealant in the regular caulking gun tube, regular 10-ounce tube. It's just more economical to get the sausage than it is the the regular tube. Plus it's a lot quicker because you can go twice as far with the sausage gun as you would with a 10-ounce tube, and you're not changing it all the time. So for anyone wondering, you put a nice big fat bead of sealant all the way around, then you pop your niche in, and then you put another bead. Well, I'll show you. Okay, so I got both niches in. Now I'm going to put another bead all along the seam and then spread it out like that. Get some of it squeezed through. Technically, Hydroban board does not need washers, and technically Schluter Curdy board is supposed to have washers, and you're supposed to put a screw every foot. So because I don't want to use the washers on this, I'm putting a screw every 6 inches. So, and then plus the sealant between the two boards, so that's bonds them together, so it's not going to move once it dries. So I'm just going to put another bead of sealant all the way around. Let's see if I can show you. So I know for those people who say get a tripod, I know I have a tripod, I have a system, but I'm not doing that right now for one quick little demonstration here. So let me get the rest of that on. Okay, so I got that on. Now make sure I fill. And we'll call that done. Okay, so finally got some tile on. Wasn't very quick today because it was a lot of cutting. As I said before, there was only 3 full tiles that I put on. Then I had to figure out exactly where to put the niches in, cut the niches out, and cement those in. So now I'm gonna let this dry. It's Friday, and come back Monday and keep going with the tile. So make sure you check out the rest of the videos in this series. I've been posting every day about this shower. So today's Friday, so tomorrow there won't be a video. So I will be back on Monday.